what makes Exeter City special is the way they stand behind their team and they're there to support and help the team, and it's an amazing feeling to have that, to know that they're always going to be behind us.
So Gary, a year has almost passed since you took over here at Exeter City. I guess to start off with, we just go back to just past a year ago really, and the interview process. I mean, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think with any new job, the interview process is obviously quite nerve-wracking. You're excited about the potential of going to a new club and what that looks like. You're obviously trying to find out bits about the club and meet the people who you're going to be working with. So it's an exciting time for me, and it's a time that, you know, I've done a lot of work in terms of looking into the football club and not just the team, what the football club stood for, really, the values of the football club, and I wanted to see if kind of my values and what I believe a good football club looks like were aligned. And I think straight away from the interview, the first interview was Taggy, Jeremy Tipper, Nick Hawker, Marcus, and I felt like, you know, the connection was there straight away. I felt like the understanding was there in terms of what they wanted from the team and what I could deliver. I felt like it was really aligned, and got through the first stage, got to the second stage. Taggy grilled me on a few questions, and, you know, he was the one that really kind of tested you, and everyone else had different questions and within different parts of the football club. But like I said, I'd done a lot of research and felt like the fit was really good. So when you get the call to say you've got the job, it's exciting. It's you know, the nerves are there. You say I've got to go and deliver now. I've got to kind of put this into practice. But I feel with the experience I've had at different jobs, I felt like it was a great time for me and a really good fit.
You said you'd done a lot of research prior to the interview process. I mean, that first week or so that you were here, do you feel like that it kind of met your expectations from your research?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, more than the first week, probably the first few months, I think for me, what I've learned going into different jobs is it's not about me imposing myself on the football club. I have to come in and try to understand the football club even more, get to know the people as quickly as I can in all different departments within the football club, not just the players. So, you know, that initial period was learning, was finding out things, was asking questions, talking to people, and seeing, you know, what was really good about this football club. And then over time you start to then try and implement certain things that I believe the club needs to move forward. So that initial period is very much me trying to find out about the club and working with the club, and that's again always exciting. You're finding out new things, you're working with new players, and it took us probably a few months to really get to know the club and get to know each other, and then really start to try and put my kind of imprint on what I believe the team and the club needed moving forward.
What's it like coming in to a club that's a few months into the season? You know, your players are set, you know, there's nothing much you can do about that. You've just come in after Matt Taylor, who'd been at the club for 4 years, so he had quite a strong identity of how he had the guys playing. What's that like for you?
It's difficult. That is, and again, through my experiences, I think at other clubs I tried to change too much too quickly. I think I was very comfortable here with the team, the way it was set up. I almost kind of let that run. I tried to add little bits that I felt could help us win games, but I think early on, you know, I set the team up to just try and win games, really, and to be competitive in games. There was no real emphasis on dominating the ball or what the style was going to look like over time. I think early, you know, I think of that Plymouth game in particular, where we played really well but lost, but we were very organised behind the ball. We played counter-attack. I think in Peterborough at home we counter-attacked and won the game 3-2. So the team identity, you know, doesn't happen overnight. That takes time. In that initial period, it's all about winning games, winning points, and almost kind of building that trust with the players that you know, I'm here to support them. I'm here to put them in in positions that they're comfortable and that give them the best opportunity to win games. And then over time, the style of play and the identity can evolve.
Did you feel there was any extra pressure on you? You know, you're the first manager of this club in the last 20 years that hasn't really been internally promoted. So did you feel any extra pressure coming from an outsider?
No, I think the opposite. I felt really welcome. I think the people at the club are amazing from top to bottom. You know, the welcome I had, Perks had, you know, new people into the football club with new ideas. I think that's always difficult. People, it's human nature to want to be safe and to do the same thing and be comfortable and consistent in what you're doing. And I think when somebody new comes in and there's an element of change, that can create uncertainty. So I think we were very conscious of that, so we didn't want to do that too quickly. And I think the club, the people already at the club were so welcoming that I think that process just happened very naturally. It wasn't something we had to force, and it's happened very naturally, and is continuing to happen. It's constantly evolving. We're never a team that wants to stand still. We have to constantly evolve, so that process is pretty much ongoing.
And you inherited a team in its first season back in League One in a decade as well. I mean, a team which didn't have a lot of experience of playing at that level as well. So how was that?
Yeah, it was good. I also inherited a fixture list that Matt Taylor, I think, seen before he left. The team had a fantastic start, but you know, when you looked at the fixtures, they had played teams that had came up with them. They had played teams that you felt would have been in the bottom half of the league. And then my first run of games was an incredible run of games. It was really difficult, and we actually picked up good points in that period when, like I say, I didn't want to change too much. I felt if I'd done that, then it might have affected results. So that allowed us then in January to build and progress. But, you know, I think the run of games that we had then in the end of April was so tough and so demanding that the key last year was establishing ourselves in the league, being comfortable in the league, and trying to then build for the future. And we've done that relatively comfortably, considering all things considered, that the manager, obviously Matty, left and a new manager comes in, and there's that can provide different challenges, but we've seen all the challenges, and like I said, had a fairly comfortable season, albeit we would have liked a little bit more in terms of how we finished.
And as you say, real tough start, you know, heading to face Derby County the day after you joined us, but 0-0 draw. You must have been proud with how the players played that day, and also, you know, Jamal went off late. Harry Lee had to come on to make his professional league debut late on, so, you know, lots of very dramatic kind of first 24 hours, really.
Yeah, it was, and that's where, you know, you're not going to change too much in one training session. I remember the training session, we played a small-sided game, and in a 90-second game, it was 3-3. And I had to stop the game to say, like, the goals can't go in this easily. And there was a big emphasis on being better defensively, being more aggressive in how we press, more aggressive in terms of how we get after the ball. So that was a big part of the training, and I thought in the game we performed extremely well. Out of possession, in possession, there was so many things that, you know, I wanted to work on and wanted to improve, but that was going to take longer. So the big emphasis early in that kind of period was all about being harder to beat and having a platform that allowed us to go and win games.
I guess a key part of those early days was Kevin Nicholson. You know, he'd been caretaker manager before you. He's been at the club for years, so he has that relationship with the players and everyone. So I guess that must have really helped you to settle in the early days.
Yeah, it did. Kev's been amazing. Somebody I knew when I was younger, played against him when he was at Sheffield Wednesday, and I was at Newcastle as an academy player. So I knew of him. I hadn't actually met him before I came here, but he was an amazing help in that initial period. I was very conscious of coming to the club with lots of different staff, and I didn't want to I was very sensitive to the club and what it was and the good people that were here. So I wanted to work with those people, and then see over time what were we missing, what could I bring in terms of staff and different expertise to help us. And so Kev at that period was a huge help in terms of me understanding the team, the individuals, the way the club works, was really important, because there was a few things like on the pitch that I struggled to get my head around, but he said this is what they do and this is how they did it, and that allowed me to make decisions in terms of how we want to play that were going to be over time. I would have probably, without Kev, I'd have done that much quicker, or tried to do that much quicker, which might have been detrimental to the team and to the results. So yeah, Kev in the beginning was an amazing help, and he's been fantastic to work with over the year.
And that first win came in dramatic circumstances as well in the league. 3-2 over, one of the stronger teams in the league in Peterborough. Giovanni Brown scores late, and what a great way to get your first win.
Yeah, amazing, and that obviously at SJP, and that was the beginning of finding out what the stadium was all about, how special it was. I think we scored a lot of late goals, which is always good that we can, go right till the very last and get those dramatic late goals to win games. So it was a special day, and it got us kind of up and running in terms of winning games.
And the following week, same thing happens away at Port Vale in the FA Cup. Archie Collins this time scores a very late goal to win the tie.
Yeah, it was another incredible game. We were obviously in control, winning, conceded, looked like we could have lost it, and Archie went up and won the game. And that was that initial period was, we were kind of winning games, but the big thing that kind of I wanted to change, and it was difficult to watch at times, was that control. We weren't really in control of any game. We were defending very well in that initial period, and always looked a threat on the counter attack, but the control of the game was never there, and that was something that I think after January we started to get a hold of, and the identity started to change. But yeah, that initial period wasn't one for the faint-hearted.
Carrying on with that, the first league away win was that bonkers game at Bristol Rovers, 4-3, non-base scores again in added time. They changed their kit at half-time, which I don't think you actually noticed either. I mean, that's not a bad way to get your first win on the road there in the league.
Yeah, that was another crazy game where, lack of control, but great spirit, great togetherness, kept going right till the very end. And didn't notice the kit, was so focused on the game, didn't really notice the kit change until after. I think it was you that mentioned it. And it was quite animated on the technical area. The away support was incredible that night. And yeah, late goal was always, when you win a game with late goals, it's always a special feeling, and it's a really good trait for the team to have.
We had such a tough run in, you saw that from when you took the job, that it was always going to be tough, facing pretty much the whole top six. But how hard did you find it personally, losing those games 6 in a row?
Yeah, it's never nice to lose games. We're in a period now where we've lost a few games on the spin, and it's never a good feeling. It's it's challenging. You have to be a resilient person if you want to be in football. You have to understand how we're losing games and what we can do to try and fix that. And as long as I think you have clarity on that, as long as the message is consistent from me and the staff to the players, then we can always find a way out of that. If we start to then change what we do and our message becomes less clear to the players, then that's when I think problems can start. So I think the staff, myself and the staff, whilst we never like losing, we deal with it well, and we're very consistent with the players, which allows them to try and find ways to change that run. So it was a difficult period. I think the Ipswich game was at the time a really hard game to take, but I said long term it's going to be a really good thing, because it shows us what the level is. It shows us how hard we need to work to get there, and it gives us a humility that we can never get too high, because we can always remember that moment and how it felt and how far away we were from a top team in the league. And I think those moments, as long again as if you deal with them the right way, can make you stronger as a team.
That final day at St James Park felt poetic, really, didn't it? With Jay scoring a hat-trick in front of a packed St James Park on his farewell from his year with us, finishing on 9 goals. It just felt like the perfect end to the season.
Yeah, it was an incredible moment for him, for the football club. Just for him to come back to the club, I think was really special. But for him to finish the way he did, after having, a difficult period throughout the season. I thought he was an incredible player for the team. He never ever, even in his difficult moment where he wasn't scoring, he was still a fantastic team player, still worked extremely hard, gave everything. His teammates loved him, the staff loved him, the supporters loved him, and it was a really special moment for him to have. I thought about taking him off at 2-0 to try and get him on loan again this season, but you just knew there was a feeling, when he was scoring the goals and the way he was playing at that moment. It was a really special moment for the whole stadium that day.
It was a very respectable 14th place finish in our first season back in League One in a decade. I guess were you happy with how your first sort of 7-8 months went overall?
Yeah, I'm never happy. I think the staff and the players will kind of vouch for that. But yeah, I think, like I said, with the challenge of a manager leaving, new manager coming in, that transition period can be difficult to navigate. So I think all in all, it was a positive season. Could it have been better? Probably. And that was the kind of message to the players as they left for their summer. You're going to enjoy your summer, but be ready for next season because the standards are going to go up. The intensity in everything we do is going to go up. But it was a good platform for the club to build, considering it was the first season back in League One for such a long time.
Above your head is the phrase Semper Fidelis as well, something that you actually brought up in your first interview at the club, and it's something the club probably hasn't highlighted enough. It's been on our badge forever. It's such an important message, and it kind of sums up the club's relationship, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm quite big on like the crest and what the club means and what it stands for, and that was something I picked up in the interview process. That those words, we need to represent those words. We carry them every single day on our chest. We have to kind of live by those words because that's what the club kind of stands for, and it is very much a club, a family club. The supporters 20 years ago saved the football club. They are everything that this football club is and kind of wants to be. So we have to represent them in the right way, and I think it's important that the players understand that. So to have the images that we have now in the stadium and the players start to understand, where the club has come from, but where it's going as well, I think is really important. So yeah, I'm big on kind of using that and getting behind that.
And on the back of that, have you been surprised by just how much the club means to the fans and how passionate they are as well?
No, when I looked into it, I obviously knew that the supporters were a big factor in saving the club 20 years ago. When you get to a club and you start to meet them, for me, what makes Exeter City special is the way they stand behind their team. The word supporter, it should be pretty clear what you need to do, but that doesn't often happen. I think, in difficult moments and negative moments, then supporters can start to criticise and start to kind of go against the team a little bit, and I haven't seen any of that since I've been here. I've felt nothing but positive vibes from the supporters. I was at the East Devon Grecians, out seeing them the other night, and any time I'm in supporters' company, even after a bad result, there's a positivity, there's a togetherness. They feel like they're in it with us, and they're there to support and help the team, and it's an amazing feeling to have that, to know that they're always going to be behind us. So it's important that we keep giving them something to shout about, but having that support is really special.
I think if you're looking back to that Morecambe game, I think that just highlights exactly what you said. On the back of 6 defeats in a row, last game of the season, nothing really riding on it. Facing not one of the most exciting teams in the league, yet the St James Park is still full for that game. Yeah,
and that sums them up. The way they travel as well, the distances we have to travel because of where we are geographically is incredible, and they go in big numbers. It's obviously a huge cost, and the financial crisis we're in, it's not easy, and they still go and do that. And that day against Morecambe after the game, when we went round the stadium, I've never seen that done at any football club I've been at in the past, but to be able to walk round the stadium and almost meet the supporters face to face, to spend time with them, to to sign autographs for them, to get pictures with them, and to see every player and staff member doing that, I think was a special moment as well. So it just shows that this club is different. I think we are unique, and it's a fantastic club to work for.
And something that was revealed recently at the St James Park is the Super Gary Caldwell flag, and I think you've been hearing that song on the Big Bank in the stadium recently. I mean, what does that mean to you to hear and see these kind of things?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's great to feel appreciated. I think, I would rather they show their kind of love and support to the players. They're the ones that are doing the work, and they're the ones that are going to bring us success. But it's great to hear that. It's always nice to be liked. I've had supporters shouting other things, so it's nice when it's positive. And the flag is great. It's something I think, again, I want St James Park to be a real fortress. I want it to be, I want there to be an energy and a passion in the crowd. So the flags, the different things we're trying to get in the stadium can only enhance that amazing atmosphere that we have.
Let's talk about the Cliffield training ground as well. Not long after you joined, this amazing new facility opened. I mean, how beneficial has that been to improving standards and everything that the club does? Yeah,
this has been huge. I think even more than the people who were very influential in building this, Taggy, the board. This has been something that's been in the pipeline for years, and when we finally got it, I'm sure they were extremely proud, but I don't even think they knew how much it would improve the standards of everything that we do. I think it's been hugely beneficial in attracting players. The transfer windows we've had, I think, have been very positive. We've brought some really exciting players, both young and older, into the football club, and I think this building has made a massive impact on allowing us to do that. It also allows us to, prepare and train in different ways, to recover. The canteen that we have, when the players come in here and eat, it really does feel like a family. Sitting down together. There's a social aspect to this now as well, whereas we didn't have that in the old building. So much change, but so much change for the better, and a really positive, high performing environment has been created to help the players be the best that they can be.
This could be about on the pitch, off the pitch, but I mean, what would you say has been your biggest or most standout moment or moments over the last 12 months?
It's flew in. We were just talking about that there, me and Kev, how quick it has kind of flown in. It's been so fast in terms of, you come in and there's so much to do, but it's like a whirlwind, and to think it has been a year is incredible. For me, the big moments, I'd say probably Luton recently was a massive night, a really special night at SJP. When we go to the Big Bank, we go around the stadium, but when we go to the Big Bank and we kind of celebrate with them, it's incredible. Off the park, I'd say beating Perks at tennis is a real challenge, and I've beat him a couple of times. So yeah, if I could beat him a few more times, that would be good. And more moments at SJP where we can connect with our supporters and win football matches. But hopefully there's even bigger moments to come in the remaining kind of months of this season.
And on the flip side of that, what would you say has been your biggest disappointment over the last 12 months? Is there anything that's kind of really, got to you?
Losing games. I think every game, as a player, it hurts. As a manager, it hurts even more, and it's something you can't get away from. It's almost like a hangover. If you have a drink, there's a hangover coming. If you go into a game and you lose it, then there's a hangover that you have to go through. I think I'm getting better at it in terms of processing that defeat, watching the game back and trying to analyse and give the players clarity on what we need to do to change it. But there is at least a kind of 24-hour hangover where it's hard to shake the defeat off. It's hard to kind of be positive. But I think over years of being a football player and then coach, manager, I think you develop a resilience that, there is always that hope, and there's always getting back into work on a Monday and working hard to put it right.
You mentioned transfers just now as well, but you knew when you were taking the job that you'd be working with one of the smaller budgets in the league. I mean, I guess that must have its challenges.
Yeah, it's challenging, but I think it's a challenge we have to take head on. I think it should never be used as an excuse. It should never be looked at as something that holds us back. I think we should be proud of what we are as a football club. We should be proud that we're supporter-owned. We should be proud that we have the budget we have, because we have to all work extremely hard to get that. That's the supporters included. So it's not something I ever look at negatively. I knew what it was when I came into the football club. It's up to me to stretch that budget as far as it can go and try and bring the best players to this club, and players that the supporters want to watch, players that can make the team really exciting, and a dynamic team that can win football matches. So I think so far we've had good transfer windows, and we have to continue to do that. Myself, Marcus, Malcolm in the recruitment department, we have to keep pushing that to get the best players we can.
Is the turnover of players quite a challenge at our level as well? Because people are only on sort of the 12 months, 2-year contracts, and when you came in, you inherited a squad where a lot of players were out of contract at the end of last season.
Yeah, that's a challenge we're working at the moment to try and make that better. For me, the big thing with injuries this season has been players coming in at different points throughout the pre-season. The players that we've had for the majority of pre-season, touch wood, have been relatively injury-free. So it's important that we try and start next season with a bigger core group of first-team players, and that will allow us to hopefully get the players fitter, hopefully have less injuries. And that challenge is we're discussing that at the moment within the club, how we can try and make that better.
You've got a very strong, settled backroom team around you now as well. I mean, how is it working with them on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think all the staff are fantastic. I think whilst it's a job that we all love, and we love being involved in football, it's not an easy job. It's long hours. It's that consistency we're trying to get. It's monotonous in terms of the work. You're doing the same thing. It's prepare for the game, review the game, prepare for the next game, and it's relentless. And especially when it's Saturday, Tuesday, it's relentless work that you have to keep getting through. So the staff are incredible, what they give, the time, and the kind of how much they care for this football club, as well as there for all to see. So I think we've got good people who are doing their very best to bring success to the club.
And if you listen really carefully, you might be able to tell that you're possibly not from round these parts. I mean, how's it been for you, living away from your family for the last 12 months?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's I think when you get a job like this, it's good for me and Perch when we're down here in terms of the work. We can put everything we have into the football club because we've no other ties or connections down here. So from that point of view, it's really good. From family point of view, it's difficult not seeing the kids. Fortunately, FaceTime and things, you can obviously do that, but it's difficult being away from them, difficult being away from my partner, Jen. She's, wants to see me more, and she'll probably get sick of me when she sees me too much, but it's you make it work. And I think, like I say, when I'm down here, I feel like I'm 100% committed to the football club. When I go home, I try and kind of see the kids and Jen as much as I can, but obviously still on my laptop or watching some games and stuff. So I think, they know that football is so important. So that's, they understand that is part of the job.
And how you find the Exeter as a city as well? I think you may have frequented some of the local watering holes in your time here. Just a couple,
yeah. A couple to go probably we've not been in. It's brilliant. I think I said before, we can walk to the stadium from where we live, and on the way back we can go in for a pint in a pub or that on the way back, which again, it shows how special this football club is. That doesn't happen at many football clubs, that the manager and the coach can walk into the stadium and go in a local pub on the way back, and supporters, whenever they come up to me, are always so positive. So that's special as well. But we need to stay out of them as much as we probably are.
This season as well, it was a strong start to the season, but it's followed by the tougher period we're experiencing a bit at the moment. I mean, how have you found how it's gone so far?
Yeah, I think it was an amazing start, to score after 20 odd seconds at Wycombe, and then the start just kind of continued after that. So I think it was a brilliant start. I think injuries have, made it difficult in recent weeks. That's not an excuse, that's the reality. And we have to find a way to be better in those moments. But there's players coming back, there's more competition for places, and we have to focus on that now, that what is ahead of us and not as what has been, because probably if you look where we are in the table now, it's an okay position. I think because we were top and because we started so well, it can be easy to get frustrated and disappointed where we are. We're in a good position. We want to be better, but like I say, hopefully players coming back, we can go on another run that can push us even higher up the table.
And if you look at that Carabao Cup run as well, I guess it just shows what the club is capable of achieving.
Yeah, definitely. I keep saying to the players, we've got a chance to make history in the Carabao Cup. If we beat Middlesbrough, then we're in a round we've never been in before in the club's history. The club has only finished as high as 8th. We're sitting in, 11th in the league. So we're in a position, that yes, we want more, but as a football club, we haven't been in these positions, too often. So we have to remember that as well, whilst continually pushing to be even better and improve in all aspects of the football club.
And just to end as well, I mean, how much are you looking forward to the future of this club and being the manager to take us forward?
Yeah, amazing. I think, for me, it's always about evolving and being better and improving. So, there'll be highs and lows along that way. You have to try and maintain a level of consistency and how you behave and how you see things. Never get too high, never get too low. I've got a picture in my office to remind me of that all the time, because football is such an emotional game, and when you win, everything's great, and when you lose, everything's rubbish. And the reality isn't that. It's never as high or as low as that. So we always have to keep our feet in the ground, keep working hard and keep moving forward. But with the people we have at the football club, I'm sure we can do that and keep bringing success, because the last 20 years is an incredible success story, and hopefully we can add to that in the coming years.